This is a song about insomnia. This is a time in my life when I couldn't sleep, so I ended up about 4 o'clock in the morning getting an eyebrow pencil and writing all the letters of the alphabet on the wall and just putting a word with each one because I was that bored. The manager of the hotel was fuming. This is called Spelling Sheep. How you gonna A if you aren't that bright? How you gonna B, Bopaloola? How you gonna C if you can't stand up? How you gonna D if you don't know? How you gonna E if you're everywhere? How you gonna F if they won't let you swear? How you gonna G-force? How you gonna H if it hurts? How you gonna I if you've no insight? How you gonna J if your joint won't light? How you gonna K if you're knackered? How you gonna L if you're lacquered? How you gonna M if you're murdered? How you gonna N if you're not? How you gonna O when you won't, my God? How you gonna P when you've lost the plot? How you gonna Q if the Queen won't come? How you gonna R if your legs won't run? How you gonna S if you slide? How you gonna T if you're totaled? How you gonna U if you're underground? How you gonna V if you're very sorry? How you gonna W if you worry? How you gonna X if you're not Chinese? How you gonna Y, I don't know? How you gonna Z if you can't sleep? How you gonna Y, I don't know? How you gonna Z if you can't sleep? That's the first of 17 verses, ladies and gentlemen. How you gonna A if you're always angry? How you gonna B if your legs are bandy? How you gonna C if you've got no eyes? How you gonna D if you don't? How you gonna E if your drugs don't come? How you gonna F if you forget? How you gonna G if you're gone? How you gonna H if there's no one home? How you gonna I if you still can't see? How you gonna J if you're jumper? How you gonna K if you're koala? How you gonna L if you're lumper? How you gonna M if you're mooning? How you gonna N if you're nude? How you gonna O when you get too old? How you gonna P then? How you gonna Q if you've got no line? How you gonna R if you've got no rhyme? How you gonna S if you're slow? How you gonna T if you've got no milk? How you gonna U like you usually do? How you gonna V if you've got no view? How you gonna W Bush? Who you gonna X now he's not here? How you gonna Y, I don't know? How you gonna Z if you can't sleep? How you gonna Y, I don't know? How you gonna Z if you can't sleep? I told you, 17 verses. How you gonna A when it's Armageddon? How you gonna B when the beast comes begging? How you gonna C when the Christ child calls? How you gonna D when you're dead? How you gonna E when it never eases? How you gonna F when it freezes over? How you gonna G when the goat comes? How you gonna H when it's hell? How you gonna I in the Ice Age? How you gonna J, you Judas? How you gonna K if you're special? How you gonna L when it's all laid bare? How you gonna M in the meltdown? How you gonna M when it's nigh? How you gonna oh dear? How you gonna P when you're on the pyre? How you gonna Q when it's all too quick? How you gonna R when you're late to rest? How you gonna S in the silence? How you gonna T when you fail the test? How you gonna U, ungrateful bastard? How you gonna B if you didn't vote? How you gonna W, wallaby? How you gonna existentially? How you gonna Y, I don't know? How you gonna Z if you can't sleep? How you gonna Y, I don't know? How you gonna Z if you can't sleep? Hey.